Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan, as always, joined by James and Callum. How you going, guys?
Not bad.
All right.
Yeah, we're here. It's hot.
Yeah. Very hot.
We've got the air conditioning on everywhere we go at the moment. So we're going to talk a little bit about the sort of the Christmas movies we need to talk about. But first, James has a couple of, I guess, housekeeping stuff to talk about.
Just because listeners probably know all the controversy with Twitter, and I'm no big fan of social media. Yeah, I'm no big fan of any social media platform as it is. I wanted to delete Facebook. The only reason I kept it is because of the show. The only reason I created a Twitter account is because of the show. But I think it's time to delete Twitter. But I want listeners to let us know if Twitter is your source of information for the Tuesday Review updates. I feel like most of our engagement comes from Instagram now.
I think so. I think also there's a new feature in Twitter where we can see how many people view our posts. So maybe that'll be interesting.
We'll look into that, and maybe we'll do like a Twitter poll or Instagram poll and say to listeners, do you actually use Twitter for your engagement with, like, to keep up with our updates?
Yeah.
And we only post an update once a week anyway.
Yeah.
Just to say here's the show, or to say we're not doing the show, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're out there and use Twitter as your primary Tuesday Review source of...
Twitter's definitely gone downhill lately.
But yeah.
On.
Also, the other thing I'm worried about is, like, I don't want to lose the handle.
Yeah.
Look, I'm erring on the side of, look, you just keep Twitter for now. We don't do much with it anyway.
Yeah.
It's really just, for us, it's self-promotion. That's about it. We're not really entering discourse that is harmful.
That's true, yeah. But I'm like, because I've always been like, you know, like I wanted to delete Facebook, so I don't use my personal Facebook page anymore. And like, I'm always like, any users, like, you should just get off, regardless of whether you
maybe we'll move to Mastodon.
Yeah.
Which referencing that is banned on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, apparently now on Twitter you can't reference any other social media.
Well, that's what I was actually thinking. I'm like, what if we post, hey listeners, should we delete Twitter? Like, it'll probably get taken down.
Link it to Smashedon.
Yeah, which is why I was like, maybe we should do an Instagram poll, because when we do an Instagram post, that's where all our likes. I think most people follow us there.
I think if we were to move away from Twitter, we'd have to redirect people, or, you know, if we launched on a new social media platform, we would have to redirect people on Instagram and Facebook rather than Twitter, because then we get banned. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, that's just an idea.
Should we use MySpace?
MySpace.
Take it back to the beginning, boys.
You know how we always talk about, wish Blockbuster would come back, and people are like, yeah, but there's like a whole thing of like, MySpace, those were the days.
No.
You know, everyone should bring that back.
The days when they didn't take music copyright quite as seriously. You know what I mean?
And it was like more, I guess it was more personal, so I guess people were less likely to be horrible. Although now the floodgates are open, I don't think
Russian bots.
Maybe we should just have a Weebly website.
The internet is so different.
We'll just have a WordPress site.
Yeah.
One of those easy do-it-yourself. There used to be a website. It was like something net. I can't remember what it was.
There's tons of those.
There's a vague memory back.
Tumblr. Should we start a Tumblr?
Yeah, GeoCities.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought that's something we're going to be considering behind the scenes. And if you're a Twitter user and that's where you get your Tuesday Review updates, let us know.
Let us know how you engage on social media, so we can better.
If Instagram seems to be our main one, so if that's the one you use, then let us know that.
We might even put this out on Twitter as well as a general question. A non-episode released post. Wow, that's a rare occasion.
Well, that's what I said we might do a poll or something. Like, do you use...
Yeah.
But yeah.
We wouldn't last long on Tumblr.
No.
Our spicy movie takes probably wouldn't go down well with the discourse.
You know how I always say, we have the hottest takes? I'm like, really, if you think about it, our takes are pretty tame.
They are tame.
Even our more extreme takes are like, nuts.
You know what was fun? You guys will appreciate this. I restrained myself very elegantly on Twitter. There was some guy posted... he's like, I didn't like Glass Onion, and he's like, and everybody's saying it's really, really good, but I thought it was really mediocre and I didn't like it.
Well, we haven't seen it yet.
So. No, I know, but I was about to reply, yeah, just like The Last Jedi. But I was like, you know what? I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, good. You've grown. Yeah, we'll probably talk about Glass Onion next week.
Yeah, I'm down. I'll watch it.
But yeah, this week we thought we'd, because a couple of days after Christmas, hope everyone out there had a good, safe
Hope Father Christmas got back safe. Actually, he'd probably still be traveling some parts of the world.
No, it's a couple of days. I think the time
Yeah.
time zones
He's
is
probably back on his way home to Mrs. Claus now.
Yeah, but I hope everyone had a good Christmas or whatever you celebrate. I think we all in the studio had a pretty good Christmas.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
Nathan made homemade eggnog, which I'd never had eggnog before, so that was good. It was a bit strong.
Well, look, it was recipe accurate, all
Yes.
right? So with recipe accurateness, it's meant to be strong.
Yeah.
So
We had a good old time. Had some time with friends. We played board game.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Me and James won because we're the best.
I am the smart.
That's it.
I am the smartest. Yeah, so we thought since last week we talked about some of the Christmas movies we were watching, leading up to Christmas, and then in the few days before Christmas, we didn't do a show then, so we thought we'll
Are
talk about.
there any post-Christmas movies?
That's actually something I was thinking about. I'm like, are there any movies
Like the aftermath?
Yeah, because every Christmas movie like ends on Christmas Day, and then
Yeah.
everyone gets together, and it's just like yay, and then it ends.
I want a movie about the cleanup.
The Boxing Day,
Yeah.
the movie. Oh, well, that's
I
something.
mean,
There'd have to be, right?
I'm sure. I mean, there's movies that take place that
Over-
aren't, but they're less Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Like movies that take place over December and then maybe into the new year. But you wouldn't probably consider those Christmas movies.
No, they're holiday movies. They're
Yeah.
not Christmas movies.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's something that'll be interesting. But yeah, because I was thinking about it as well, like for years since we started the old show and into this show, for years we would always say, oh, we should do a Halloween special. We should do a horror movie special on Halloween. Oh, we should do a Christmas movie special for Christmas. And we just never did because we were always reviewing something else or whatever. And then this year we finally did like all of Spooktober was like just horror
awesome,
movies.
yeah.
And that was pretty good. And then this December, even though we had to take a couple of weeks off, we talked about Christmas movies. So I thought it'd be a good idea to actually talk about the Christmas movie because we finally got around to doing something we've been saying we should do for years. Although in saying that, same with the horror movies on October and with Christmas movies now, it's like we're not doing a special movie focus on our favorite Christmas movies or our favorite it's just movies we watched this year. Because if we did a special, we'd have to actually take out the time to do a proper special episode of all our favorite horror movies or our favorite Christmas movies, which maybe we can do that in the future as well.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we're just talking about
Things we've been watching.
Things we've been watching.
Well, look, hopefully in the new year we'll be able to do more, we'll say, off-air recording.
Yeah,
with a possible new location we can record at. We'll see, subject to, I guess, Alam's availability.
We'll see how it goes
See
because
how the space goes.
We haven't been able to do Saturday episodes for a long time, and every time we've tried to get our own like home studio set up, hasn't always worked out. And we're going to try again with Alam. He's got a new place, so.
Unless we win the Powerball, then we can just build one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
You'll have to listen to our spicy takes in higher definition, and we won't be going anywhere. There'll be more of them.
Yeah, actually, listeners better hope we don't win the lottery because otherwise you get more episodes and
we'll get a fancier logo too.
Yeah,
and we'll pay for a cheap website.
We'll pay the $8 for the blue check.
That's it. Our spicy takes will be elevated to the top of the threads.
then when we threaten to quit Twitter, it'll actually mean something. But yeah, did you guys watch any Christmas movies after we talked last time?
No, I haven't watched any yet.
Well, the time is over.
Yeah, the time is over.
Not that you can't watch Christmas movies
yeah.
at
But it's
any
not
time of the year.
special.
But yeah, it's like I only watch them in December, especially like the week or two leading up to
Like
Christmas.
our parents watch Love Actually probably twice a year, like every 6 months.
I've never seen it, and everyone keeps telling me you have to see it. You have to see it.
It's funny because Americans hate it
Yeah,
because it's like the most English movie of all time.
yeah.
Well, you know.
Well, I mean, I think Australia has the good balance of like
Yeah.
American stuff and British stuff.
It's tipping the wrong way though.
Yeah.
As time goes on, we're getting more
American.
Americanized, I would say.
Yeah, but I think in terms of pop culture, I feel like there's more people here that would be interested in a BBC or English show or movie than would be in America. Like it'd be a smaller...
100%. Yeah.
Look, I like Love Actually. I think it gets a hard rap myself because it does have a wide cast of characters and they all have cheesy cliche storylines which resolve in the obvious way. And, you know, but...
That's kind of what you... Like, it's a Christmas movie. The reason it's meant to have the certain amount of cheese and, like...
The reason the cliches work is because they do tug at the heartstrings. They provide the moments you want them to provide. I can understand from... especially maybe an American audience which is not used to English humour or sensibilities... Maybe they find it kind of hammy or something. I don't know.
Uncomfortable.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's not like The Office or anything.
No, but there are moments of uncomfortableness and cringe. Yeah. So it's like if you're not comfortable with that, it's
there is
very
a lot of there is a bit of dry humor in it. Yeah. But it is an English movie. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But I like it. It does get a bad rap, like I said. A lot of, especially some younger people, like, oh, Love Actually. Pfft. You know, like there's that attitude of like, wow, that's a mum movie kind of mentality.
That's the thing is like I've always been like, I'm not really interested. I've seen bits of it a million times, like because it's on TV every Christmas.
I would say the Bill Nye character arc is funny.
Yeah.
The Alan Rickman arc is heartbreaking. Like you could take every story from Love Actually and find something good in it, even if people don't like it as a whole. The bits in it shine. Yeah. Even if some, like I said, it's subjective, right? I'm not. I like it, but then someone might watch it and be like, "That sucks."
Yeah. I was gonna watch it this year. I was like, "This is gonna be the end." I just didn't have time. So maybe next year.
I think you'd appreciate it just because the cast is so strong.
Yeah.
And they do use the cast well. Like you got Hugh Grant in that kind of ministerial, regal role, but it's also the office romance role that, you know, flirting with the assistant and stuff and finding out they like each other.
I also kind of like a lot of the...
Yeah, it is problematic in this lens in the year
20 years old, so like...
Yeah, some of the themes in, like, I guess romances would be considered inappropriate today.
Yeah. But he plays the role well.
So,
you know? And it is a sweet story. Like when it's not like a whole kind of, you know, pervy rapey kind of situation. It's like this. The romance in this film is largely like a more gentle style of romance. It's not aggressive or in your face. It's more like a you know, flirting. How can we awkward communication English style? Yeah. That type of thing. It's not like an American romance with the, you know, the salsa dancing and the kisses and the, you know what I mean?
It errs on the more realistic side, we'll say, than an over-exaggerated...
Rowan Atkinson is great in it. Like it had such a strong cast that they used their talents well. Like Rowan Atkinson has this really awkward physical kind of role of rapping the longest rapping of a Christmas present of all time. Yeah. Because there's Alan Rickman waiting for a present, which may or may not be for his wife, and he's taking his time rapping it. There's always another flourish. And so it's like things like that I think you might be interested in, like the little bits you pick up as you watch it.
It's been on my list, you know, to watch, and I just didn't have time to get around to it.
How do you feel about Bridget Jones?
I never saw that either.
That's a Christmas movie. That's also a movie. Yeah.
Christmas, Christmas adjacent.
No, it starts at Christmas and ends on Christmas.
Yeah.
It's
like a year in the life of Bridget Jones.
Yeah, but it's kind of like like it does focus on Christmas a fair bit.
Yeah.
Like even though it's not all set at Christmas, I would still consider it a Christmas movie because like
I'm thinking of the classic scenes in it and they're all set over Christmas.
There's like 3 Christmases in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of like or like 3 Christmas
and
parties
the Christmas kind of drives the narrative forward.
So it's like that kind of Christmas is sort of like a driving force in the movie, even though it's not set only during Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's like a large part of the movie is set around Christmas.
I was gonna say
it still counts.
I was gonna say if you like Bridget Jones, you'd like Love Actually because they're the similar wheelhouse.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. So yeah, but Love Actually, I'll try to do next year. So we'll see how we go with that.
Yeah. Also, it has a great foreign language romance element where the two characters don't understand each other and they kind of like each other, which is Colin Firth. plays the male. I can't remember the actress's name, but that's fun.
Some Portuguese lady.
Yeah, because like he'll
Yeah,
say
yeah.
something and then she'll say the opposite. It's like
Yeah.
like he loses his water in the lake.
Again,
He
very
loses his
very
bag-
cliche.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
loses his book in the lake and she jumps in and gets it. And he's like, "Don't worry, it's crap." And she goes, "This better not be crap." And it's like that type of yeah.
Very very cliche. Very standard.
Yeah.
But it's also not a movie that would get received well today. For some
Well,
In
it's
some
still,
elements.
there's still a lot of love for it, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know that's like I said. Everyone always says you have to watch it, and I just
Yeah.
never got around to it. So that's something I'll try to do next year. This year, in addition to the ones I talked about last episode, did you guys watch the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
I started it, but I had to stop it. I had
Okay.
to. Was it? What did you think?
No, it was really good. It was really
was
funny.
good.
Yeah.
I didn't note that I liked it. A lot of it seemed practical.
James
I
Gunn was
was-
behind that one, wasn't he?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
wrote and directed it while they were filming Guardians 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that's why it was so good. People like us because James Gunn was involved.
And also because it seems that these one-off like hour-long specials, you know, they did the Halloween Werewolf by Night one,
Yeah.
and now they did this one. It seems that like they're a bit looser. It's like, oh, just do whatever you want.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to make $500 million at the box office.
Yeah, exactly. And like they can just be a bit more weird and creative, and
Yeah.
so it was really funny.
It's so nice that his relationship with Marvel is so solid, even now that he runs DC. The DC
Well, yeah, it
universe.
turned out that getting fired from Marvel was the best thing to happen to him, because now he like makes all the creative
they still
decisions
get him
at
in
DC.
They still get him in a Marvel,
yeah.
and he has his own.
Exactly.
his
So
own
I mean,
studio.
as comic book like movie nerds, like we get the best of both worlds now.
We never like. I know this is airing off the topic of Christmas, but the day came we never thought would arrive.
Yeah.
Finally, they're doing what they should have done 10 years.
James
almost
Gunn
10
is just
years
like
ago.
erase everything.
Yeah.
Erase
Salt the
everything.
earth. Yeah. That's it.
Long time listeners of this show and the old show know that how much I hate the DCEU.
Apart from
and how much-
Shazam.
Well, yeah, but
Another
you know,
great
But it's still
Christmas movie.
connected to
yeah,
that.
Another great
you know what I
Christmas
mean?
film, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all those awful DC movies, and I'm just like, they just need to start again, just clean
Yeah.
slate. And for years, DC was dicking around and like doing like soft reboots and
Yeah.
like Birds of Prey. That's like not. It's a soft reboot. It's not really set, and it's
yeah.
like no, it was actually just a sequel. And then the James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, that was supposed to be like a reboot. It's like no, but actually the characters was
It's the
played
same
It's the
canon.
same
Yeah,
universe.
yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, they finally realized that was
Nothing was working.
yeah, and they got James Gunn, and I can't remember the other guy's name. There's another guy.
Yeah.
I'll look it up. But
and,
yeah, this,
and they're just finally like everything's cancelled. Henry Cavill's
Yeah.
not coming back as Superman. No Black Adam
no
2.
Jason,
You're
no
done.
Aquaman.
Hopefully no Ezra
And
Miller.
I'm like, thank
Jason
God.
Momoa is now Lobo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, finally they're doing what I've been saying they
Yeah.
should have been done pretty much since Man of Steel came out. I'm like, they need to
Hard
start
reset,
again.
yeah.
Because they cannot sustain this garbage.
Yeah.
And anything connected to the garbage, we talked about it before with Star Wars, rotten foundations. It's like anything you do based on that.
It's tainted.
Yeah. So finally, but even now I'm very wary, and I think
I
it's going to take a few years before we can sort of see.
Peter
One of the-
Safran.
Okay, yeah.
One of the reasons I'm hopeful is that he's done some interesting promos for some lesser known DC characters, like lesser known to people who don't read DC comics, who just watch the movies and stuff like
James
that.
Gunn has, yeah.
Yeah, like Mr. Miracle. He tweeted out a picture of Mr.
Well,
Miracle.
James Gunn is like actually a comic book fan,
Yeah,
and you
and-
can tell that like when he makes Guardians of the Galaxy, which before the movie came out, like no one knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were unless you were a comic nerd.
Yeah. Like Mr. Miracle's a really interesting character they can play with. Blue Beetle's getting a movie. That's a fascinating.
That's already been made though.
Oh,
If I'm not mistaken, that was already made under the old
That was
regime.
Oh,
with
'cause
what's
he-
his name?
I
What's
guess
his
they-
name from Cobra Kai?
yeah. I guess they're keeping
Oh,
it.
Sholo? Is that how you
yes,
pronounce his name?
Sholo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miguel.
Yeah.
He plays Miguel.
Yeah, I guess they're keeping that.
Is it
in-
him? I thought it was a different guy.
No, I think it's him. I think it's Miguel.
Oh, okay. I thought it was someone else.
I guess
I'll
they're
double
keeping
check.
that in the new canon because he was like promoting that.
Maybe.
But if it's reasonably unconnected, like you know what I mean, if it was just a singular Blue Beetle movie,
Yeah, Jolo Mariduena.
Oh, okay, it
Yeah,
is him.
it is
Okay,
him,
yeah,
yeah.
cool.
But yeah, so that's interesting. The fact that they're thinking about playing
But-
outside the box, especially Lobo being kind of. Is it confirmed they're interested in making Lobo?
I think that's just rumors. Like I said, it's going to be a few years before we actually see any tangible results, and we'll have to see how those turn out.
He does also want to do more animation, and he wants to do more video games, which will
Good,
be
because
interesting.
when that idiot, started deleting everything off HBO Max, and they just wholesale cancelled all the animated shows and all the DC animated shows that were in development, just cancelled. Kevin Smith was working on one, cancelled.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if James Gunn has any power or ability to sort of bring some of those back.
I think he will be able to reboot them, but the ones that were cancelled for tax reasons, I don't think so.
because it's tax reasons.
One of the good things he did was he met with the directors and producers of the cancelled Batgirl movie. And people are thinking maybe he's getting them to make another picture, being like, we can't.
That's nice.
But being like, obviously we can't, for legal reasons, we can't give you the movie you already made. For corrupt capitalist reasons.
Can you do something
Lobo
else?
is slightly more than rumor, but not quite fact.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting. The fact that hopefully Brendan Fraser will get to make an appearance in the DC EU. And
if he doesn't pop up in DC, I'm sure he'll pop up in Marvel.
He's a hot property at the moment.
Yeah. As he should be.
Yeah.
But, James Gunn tweeted a picture of Lobo.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Jason Momoa, while no longer doing Aquaman, is currently working on his dream project in DC, which he can't talk about. And someone asked me about it, and he said, I can't talk about it, but I'm playing my favorite ever comic book character. And then
Jason Momoa as Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down
with the dreadlocks.
Yeah. But then again, and of course, the internet is a sleuth, and someone posted an interview with him at a Comic Con in 2014, where he talks about Lobo being his favorite comic character, and he's just like, he's like, okay,
it's still early days.
It's not confirmed.
It's not confirmed.
Yeah,
but
anything could happen. Yeah.
Anything could happen. It's slightly stronger than unsubstantiated.
It's not just someone. It's not just someone saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if?" Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's just funny that they still. I don't think technically they still haven't cancelled The Flash.
Yeah, so weird to
hilarious.
me. Ezra, his acting. I'm sorry, their acting skills. Must be amazing.
Ezra Miller must have the most ironclad contract in all of Hollywood history or something. I don't know.
They fly him in under the cover of darkness.
It's like the man has the person has a warrant out for their arrest.
Yeah.
It's like, still can't get this movie cancelled.
And the new, what's the new HBO guy? The new Warner Brothers Discovery. David Zaslav or something like that?
Something like that. The unscripted king.
Yeah. He's cancelled everything else. Why not cancel the thing that literally has a criminal in the leading role? God.
Brendan Fraser bad. Ezra Miller good.
Yeah, this is why I'm so happy that James Gunn has just been like, all right, clean slate. I'm like, finally, thank you. Someone listen to me. Finally.
Yeah, James Gunn, friend of the show.
Please go on the show. So speaking of Christmas movies, I also curiosity got the better of me, and I watched Bad Santa 2.
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
It wasn't terrible.
Okay, that's an endorsement.
Worse than number one?
I mean,
it's nowhere near as good as the first one. Yeah, but
is it still Billy Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's Billy Bob and Tony Cox, the little person who plays the elf. He comes back. The creepy kid, he comes back, but now he's like 20.
Oh.
So
can't do that.
Nathan
Does he still have the same
that.
hair?
Yeah.
I can't do that hair.
It's so creepy.
It's like, why is it that? Like, why are the curls that tight, boy? Stop it. Like, that they must work on those.
It's such an important part of the character, though, because he's so weird. And
yeah, I know, but like, is that a thing? He must get up in the morning and make sure his curls are tight. Like, is that a real? Is that a real natural? You could have
natural curls like that, but I think they probably did for the second movie. First movie, I don't know, but the second movie, they definitely would have
worked at it.
Yeah, worked on.
Yeah, like.
But yeah, the first one came out in 2003. The second one came out in 2016. So it's one of those where there's a big gap, and then we have the rights to this. Might as well
use it
cash
before it expires.
And I don't, no one saw it, and finally got around to. I watched it. It was on binge or whatever because I rewatched the first one, and it wasn't terrible. There was a couple of bits I thought really funny. It's an okay movie. It's not going to enter the Christmas movie rotation.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the first one. But yeah, it was okay.
So
had its moments.
We endured Bad Santa 2 so Billy Bob could do Goliath, is what I'm hearing.
Well,
So he
maybe the paycheck he got from that.
So he could do Fargo.
Yeah.
Slash Goliath.
Snow related.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't awful. Considering a lot of I've seen worse movies and I've seen worse sequels.
Yeah.
Also, I watched the Miracle on 34th Street remake, which
Good.
I had seen a million times as a kid. I loved it. If listeners remember, I talked about last week, I watched the original 1947 version for the first time and loved it. I had seen the 1994 remake a million times and decided to rewatch it again after having seen the original. And it's still a great movie.
What do you prefer?
Both have their pros and cons. I think the original is probably just better, just because it did it first, and the remake, the 94 version, doesn't do anything so much better that it kind of justifies itself. But there are parts of it that I like. There are a few bits that are more fleshed out. I like the original because it's economical. It's like gets things done. It's like an hour and 36 minutes or something. Gets things done. You get to the point. The remake is like 20 minutes longer. And some of that's good fleshing out stuff and some whimsical stuff. Other parts of it's just like, oh, they're just stretching this out now.
Yeah.
But yeah, both are good.
I think next year that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to watch the classics.
Yeah.
The 40, like I said last week, there's some great 40s Christmas movies. And yeah, I think the 94 Miracle on 34th Street, though, still, I have nostalgia for it, obviously, because I loved it as a kid. But it's still a good movie. Like, I think it still stands up.
I read something on the internet. It was like most of the Christmas classic movies in like the 80s and 90s were made by like one man. A lot of them they were spearheaded by like one guy. I'll find out who it was.
Well,
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, I do notice when I go on IMDb and I check what the director of a Christmas movie has done. Oftentimes, I'll see at least one other Christmas movie.
Yeah, it might be like a niche. Maybe you need a specific skill set for it.
Yeah, I think also because like if a studio is making a Christmas movie, they're like, oh, let's get the guy who made that other successful Christmas movie. That's how Hollywood works. We're making an action movie. Let's get the successful action director.
Yeah, of course.
So if you've already made one, even if it's not, if you've made one Christmas movie, and
you're a known quantity,
then you
can
Christmas
deliver.
movie guy. Yeah,
like Santa, you can deliver.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, I've never seen this. Have you guys ever seen A Christmas Story? From 1983, where the kid wants the BB gun.
No.
I haven't seen it, but the pop culture references are hitting me pretty hard about it.
Right, because in America, it seems to be one of the Christmas classics, like Stone Cold classic. Everyone's seen it. It's one of the main Christmas movies in America. Personally, I don't think I know anyone in Australia I don't know anyone personally here who has,
seen it.
None of my friends have seen it.
Yeah.
I had always heard about it. I knew about the BB gun. I knew about the leg lamp. I knew about the pink bunny suit. I knew all the little bits of it, but I'd never seen it. And
it feels familiar, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And last year I was like, oh, I'll buy the Blu-ray. I'll finally get around and I'll watch it on Christmas. And I didn't do it. And I'm glad I didn't, because this year they released it on 4K.
Oh.
So I was like, yes, please, I'll get that instead. Then I have the definitive version of the movie and I don't have to worry about...
Did you end up watching it?
And I watched it, yes. So,
how do you feel?
I mean, I liked it. It's a really good movie. It's not going to enter my... favorite Christmas movies ever. Maybe if I watched it as a kid, I would like it more now. Just in terms of the 4K restoration's really nice, and I appreciate it. Like we talk about all the time on this show, an early 80s movie feels like a real movie.
It looks like a real film. Yeah,
it feels exactly not not super high budget, but there's people walking around,
There's colour
and it's set.
yeah.
It came out in '83, but it's set in the 1940s.
Oh, okay.
So it's got this period feel, these old cars and costumes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny, and it's kind of what's the word? Like, it's got this whimsical, fantastical element to it because it's a Christmas movie and because it's about a kid.
It's such an important part of
but
the
it's also got
Christmas.
this grounded, realistic, because they're like a working class family in the 40s. They get bullied.
Yeah.
The kids fight, and there's this kind of, I don't want to call it realistic because that's not the right word. But
I know what you mean.
It's got a balance between like the whimsical fantasy
and then
element,
the real life element,
and then the kind of grounded. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. You're like, it's an American movie, and it's about a kid who wants a gun for Christmas.
Yeah,
I know it's a BB gun, but I'm like, it's Americana in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you want, little Timmy? I want a gun.
Yeah. And like,
what does he do with the gun once he gets it?
He's got all these daydreams where he's like a cowboy and he's like shooting the bad guys.
Yeah, it's so American.
I think it's also it's a very American, like a slice of Americana.
Yeah.
But I think anyone can appreciate it. Doesn't matter where you're from.
Because
most of our pop culture comes from America, and especially most of our Christmas pop culture comes from America.
Yeah.
And most of our ideas of Christmas come from American movies. Like the whole snow and the eggnog and the all that stuff is from American movies.
Yeah.
So like, I think A Christmas Story is a good example of something that's very American and more popular there than it is here. But also, it's about a kid who wants something for Christmas, and he's gonna try all these schemes to try and get it. And it's a working class family, and the dad is, being a grump and yada yada yada, and it all works together in what makes a great movie. Any movie doesn't matter if it's Christmas or not.
Pays off all the arcs. Yeah.
And then curiosity got the better of me, because this year also they released a sequel called A Christmas Story Christmas.
Oh.
Now the original came out in 1983. This one came out in 2022. So is that 40? Is that 39 years? Is my math correct? And it's got the original kid. And he's all grown up and he has kids of his own.
He's a policeman.
Yeah, and you see the trailer and it's like grown. You're just like, oh my god, cash in sequel.
Yeah.
Low budget, digital flat cinematography, like whatever. But I'm like, well, I watched the original.
Yeah. In for a penny, in for a pound, right?
Yeah, the new one's on binge. This is the perfect time to watch it, because if I don't watch it now, I'm never going to watch it.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Okay, so where is the kid now?
So now he's like in his 40s or whatever. It's set in the 70s, early 70s.
Okay,
he's trying to become a science fiction author, and it's not,
interesting.
It's not panning out for him. He has 2 kids, a wife and 2 kids of his own, and his father, the one from the first movie, passes away, and so he goes back home for Christmas. And he meets up with all his friends from the original movie, and they're all played by the same actors. Now they're all grown up.
That's cool. This movie is not going in places I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. So, but that part of it is like, oh yeah, nostalgia, whatever. It's great that they got the original actors, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But the movie itself isn't bad. Like, it's got some good jokes. Overall, it didn't feel soulless like a lot of these sequels and remakes and stuff can feel. It felt like it had a bit of heart to it.
Yeah.
And everyone involved, because they were involved with the original, like, it felt kind of...
Like they were taking care of it.
Yeah, you could feel the care taken. It's just, in terms of the budget and the filmmaking, it's just night and day.
It's not the good old days.
Yeah, the 83 version is like, this is a real movie. And you watch the new sequel, and it's just like, it's like a straight to HBO Max movie. I watch it on binge, and it was just like, oh, this feels like a straight to streaming movie.
Yeah.
And this is where we've gotten, is like, even with Bad Santa, the original 2003, the early 2000s weren't a great time for cinema, but
CG hadn't taken
off. But Bad Santa, the original, felt like a real movie.
Yeah.
Bad Santa, the 2016 sequel, Bad Santa 2, the 2016 sequel, already you can see okay, this filmmaking isn't as good. And that comes with the fact that it's a different director and so on. But you can already say, now skip to 2022, A Christmas Story Christmas, the sequel to the 1983 movie. And it's like
That's
straight to streaming.
That's such a bad title.
2016, yeah, it's awful.
A Christmas Story Christmas.
Just going from Bad Santa 2 2016 being a released movie to A Christmas Story Christmas 2022 straight to streaming, and you can see the dip again of like, okay, this is just low budget. You know, it's filmed in Eastern Europe, as we talked about on previous episodes, to save money. And they just dress it up so it looks like an American town. But yeah, it's just the movie itself was okay, but yeah, just in terms, you can see that progression of filmmaking of like they just don't spend the time and money and care on the filmmaking anymore, because now, like as we discuss almost every episode, filmmaking is content. You got to churn it out. It's got to be for you got to get subscribers for your streaming service and so on.
It's all about the numbers.
And speaking of real movies with great cinematography, music, acting, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, if not up there as my favorite. It's very close. I'm not sure if I'd say it was my favorite, but it's very close. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Nice. I planned to watch that and I didn't. It's up there with Die Hard, is it?
Yeah, well, I usually watch Die Hard every Christmas Eve, and then I watch Jingle All the Way every Christmas morning. For the last 2 or 3 years, I've given Die Hard a rest because I'm like, I've just seen it too many times and I'm kind of getting a bit sick of it. So this, like the last few years, I've just been watching different movies on the Christmas Eve. And this year I thought, I'll watch one of my favorites, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. But specifically the reason I watch it is because I got the new 4K that they released.
Ooh. Was it good?
And that chef's kiss, amazing 4K restoration.
I will have to borrow it next year.
Incredible. It looked fantastic. You can see...
Was that released in Australia or did you import that one?
No, I had to import it.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. It's a given. Every time I say, I got this on 4K, in the first thing you should think I imported it.
Thank God they're region free.
Yeah. Oh, God. But yeah, I've seen that movie 100 times, and oh my God, this is the best it's ever looked. You can see every detail in the back of every scene.
The magic of watching like a fresh restoration. Yeah.
And also, like I've been saying the last few minutes, it's like a real movie with real cinematography. It looks beautiful. Most Christmas movies now are just cheap, churn them out on the streaming, straight to Netflix. This is a real movie with depth and beauty.
Color and pop. Yeah.
And you'd think, it's a National Lampoon's comedy. Like, you don't think that... but, oh my God, just beautiful, beautiful.
Well, I think I said a few episodes ago that there was someone I saw on Twitter who was saying that they've just spent like a while watching 80s movies, and they said that...
Yeah, we talked about it.
Like I said before, that they can't believe how much colourful movies were. Even the movies that people at the time thought sucked, you go back and watch them now, and they're just vibrant compared to the flatness that we have now.
We've talked about before, even the bad B movies of like the 80s have this kind of depth and tangible kind of texture to it.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like they don't even make B movies anymore. They make crappy straight to streaming.
Yeah, it's all green screen.
And even the big budget it's all straight to streaming, and you can't tell it's big budget because it's all green screen and flat digital cinematography. But yeah, National Lampoon's one of my favorite. Christmas Vacation, one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Christmas movies, great comedy, very funny. I quote all the time. Yeah, love it. So that was my Christmas Eve movie. Was like A Christmas Story Christmas, and then National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And I spent all Christmas Eve watching movies. So yeah, pretty good year for Christmas movies. Maybe next year we'll talk more about whatever else we're watching.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more time lately to watch them, but
it's the problem with this show is just like we don't have a lot of time to all watch the same thing. That's why we've been just doing these looser episodes now, and also, like I've said on previous episodes, it's just more fun when you just watch a movie because you want to watch it, and not because we got to talk about it on the show.
Happy to watch them,
yeah. Like, I really wanted to watch Glass Onion, but I'm like, well, we can't talk about it on the show. And then I was just like, you know what? we'll do it another time. We'll do it whenever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And yeah, I think next year we'll see. I mean, the shows, I don't know. We don't really have a format anymore or any sort of structure, but yeah, we're just for the next year we'll see.
Having a good time. Hopefully, it comes through.
Yeah, I mean that's why I've been saying on the last few episodes. If you're listening out there, like,
let us know.
Let us know. Like, is there something you want us to focus on? Do you actually want us to just do classic movies from now on, or
makes us feel good?
Yeah, because there's like new Netflix movies that I watch, and I'm like, well, we don't have time to talk about them on the show. I won't mention them, but like, a lot of people probably want to know what's coming out. If that's worth watching. But yeah, how weird do you want me to get? Because I can go down a rabbit hole of like weird old movies that no one's ever heard of. But sometimes I avoid that because I'm like, well, the guys haven't seen it. I don't know if the listeners will care. But yeah, let us know on the social media.
Let us know what you want from us in the new year.
Yeah.
We'll do a poll. We'll put all this in a poll and be like, how do you engage with us? Maybe 2 polls. How do you engage with us? Or how would you like to engage with us? And what do you like to hear?
Would you prefer us to hand out our reviews on a disc on a street corner?
Yeah, that's a good old school.
with a trench coat.
If I thought we had no listeners now, you can imagine when we do that.
We'll print our own goddamn paper.
Can you imagine the masthead?
The Tuesday review.
Do it old school, yeah.
Do it old school.
Yeah, well, that's enough Christmas movies. We've burned up most of the show. I've got other stuff I can talk about. You guys can talk for a bit if you want.
Yeah, we got, you know what? Right before we get back into it, we'll go to a very quick break. Well, you are back on the Tuesday review. Look, a couple of things I've been watching lately that I thought warrant a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching Slow Horses.
Have you started season 2?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't started it yet. I'm waiting for it to finish.
I'm 1 episode behind. What did you think of season 1? Without spoilers.
Yeah, no, it was really good.
Gary Oldman, so good.
How slow are these horses?
They're pretty slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're there for a reason.
They're lame.
They're
Positively
lame.
lame.
That's the kind of the point of the show, basically. So, give Callum context here. The slow horses are like the...
It's like the kind of... When you're in the MI5, which is like the English version of like the FBI or whatever, if you're a screw up but they can't fire you, you get sent to this crappy office building that's like away from the main MI5 headquarters, and
you give them busy work to do. It's like where you go. They can't.
You're given all the crap jobs at the.
It's like they want to try and pressure you to quit, but they can't fire you. So I'll put you somewhere you don't want to be.
You just do all the crappy jobs that no one else wants to do. And it's about, and they're called the slow horses because like no one wants them around. They're not useful.
They don't win any races.
And they basically just do grunt work.
It's so good.
Yeah, and it's about, and then of course, everyone underestimates them, and so when they actually uncover a conspiracy or whatever, it's like up to them to kind of figure it out, while the bigwigs and the kind of James Bond types are off sniffing their own behinds. Behinds is like they're actually like, actually we're I think what I like so much about Gary Oldman's performance is so he's like an old kind of Cold War agent. He's a miserable prick, and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And he's kind of like chain smoking alcoholic, kind of like,
he's basically trying to get everyone to quit. He deliberately wants everyone not to do anything. He's like, here we don't work.
Yeah. But like, there's character reasons behind that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's seen and done probably too many terrible things.
Yeah, he used to be a good agent.
He used to be a good agent back in the Cold War, behind the wall, on the bad side of the wall.
Yeah,
like, you know, he's had his moment, kind of like he's a legend.
Yeah,
but he's past his use by day, essentially.
Yeah, and now no one wants anything to do with him, and he doesn't want anything to do with them.
Yeah, and it's kind of about him and his team, essentially.
Yeah,
and the adventures they get up to.
It's on Apple TV Plus, which have been pretty good in their output so far. But it's got that, like we talked about with The Office last week, it's got that good English show feel of like it's 6 episodes.
It's
out. Quality. Yeah. It's quality over quantity over quality. Quality over quantity. And yeah, it's got that kind of like, yeah, it's a very British show. It's like all the actors. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. I know that, but you don't know their name, but you've seen them on every English show.
Yeah, the staples.
Yeah.
But it's so
but
good.
It's also got that, because Apple TV Plus seems to be putting in the budget. It's got that
a high
kind
budget in the normal BBC
HBO style production of, even though it's just set in London, it's like, oh, there's actually people walking around and
it's
cars.
Still high budget.
It's still got the
epic big feel.
Yeah. Which we talked about. I've talked about before how I was like, I miss watching a show or a movie. It's like, oh, you just see people and cars and they're having an office party and the camera cranes up and it's just like, oh, you don't see that anymore because they're just cutting budgets and do it on green screen, do it quickly, do it cheaply. This movie has that.
And I will say Gary Oldman, the way he swears in this show.
Oh yeah, we appreciate
I appreciate
it. Yeah.
It's nothing particularly offensive, but it's just the way he says the words. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Also, I don't know if you watched the teaser for season 2 at the end of
season 1. Well, that's actually, I was surprised because season 1 started earlier this year in like April 2022, and I finished season 1 a few weeks ago. And then I was really surprised at the end of season 1 that there was already a teaser for season 2.
I have a feeling they must have shot them back to back.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, then I looked it up and I was like, oh, season 2 is already airing now in December 2022. So yeah, they must have shot them back to back. And
yeah, they have like a 4 or 5 season plan or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they're just gonna
get it all.
I think it's based on a book. Am I right?
Yeah.
So it's like they probably got the
rights for the
source material of the main story arc, and they're just like, all right, let's bang it all out. Which is a great way to do it because we're sick of the Netflix way of like one season and then you're cancelled. Yeah. And you don't get to see the full story. Well, look,
so far, touch wood with Apple.
Yeah.
Like they're at least committing to the few shows that they make.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see how season 2 ends. I haven't caught up just yet.
I'm
sort of doing it like...
It finishes at the end of this month and I'll probably start it in January sometime.
Yeah. But especially the plotline revolving season 2 is more prescient now with... you've seen... Did you watch the teaser?
I watched the teaser, yeah.
Yeah. So basically it's about Russian sleeper agents.
Yeah.
So that's what season 2 is about.
Yeah.
Where season 1 was kind of a contained story, season 2 is also kind of a contained story. Which is good.
Yeah, it's funny that Russia is like, they've always been the bad guy and they always will. Yeah, it's like, turns out they always will be.
It's their own fault.
Yeah. You used to watch old 80s movies, you go, oh, this is so outdated, it's like all the Russian bad guys. It's like, no, it's always been that way, and still, through the 90s, 2000s, it's still...
Still a classic.
Yeah, for a while the Middle Eastern terrorists they got the brunt of it. It's like, okay, leave the Russians alone for a bit. They're our friends now. It's like, nah, they were always the bad guys and they'll continue to be the bad guys.
But, it's also very prescient, kind of the way the show, I guess, unfolds and the events that are happening in the world now. So it's kind of like it adds that little extra spice to the show. And like you can not relate to it, but it's like it sort of
feels relevant,
fresh, and also relates to backstories and characters and stuff like that. They
dropped some bombs at the end of season 1. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to future reveals.
Yes, well, that's good. I'm glad you've at least seen season 1 so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
The other thing I've been watching is Yellowstone. We're talking more about they have that digital feel and everything's a little bit too...
Yeah, you were telling me about this off air.
Yeah.
Because we always complain about shows now. It's just like, they all look the same. They all feel the same.
Yeah.
And they're all shot, lots of green screen.
I don't know what Taylor Sheridan has on Paramount, what kind of blackmail or...
Well, I'm trying to think of how many Paramount shows I've seen. I saw that, what was that one where all the girls get lost in the woods?
Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets, yeah. I watched that one. That
also had a bit of a budget.
That one didn't look too bad.
Yeah. But Yellowstone, I don't know what this man has on Paramount.
Yeah,
must be. I don't know who he has in his pocket.
Well, it must be. It's a big business because there's like 3 spin-offs now.
Yeah.
And so they must be just like, all right, good, you can have.
So I guess it's their Walking Dead or whatever.
Well, yeah, like
probably.
They're trying to milk that franchise.
I imagine this show will be massive in like the southern states, right?
Yeah.
Cowboys and everything.
Especially, yeah.
But anyway, so I'm like my dad. By the way, my dad is now further than I am at Yellowstone.
It feels like a dad show.
It is a dad show.
That's one of the reasons I was like never got around to starting it.
But you would enjoy it.
And now, I'm intimidated because it's like 10 seasons and the spin-offs.
But then again, they're only like 8 episodes a season. It's not too bad. Anyway, I feel like I describe it like Succession meets Longmire meets The Sopranos.
Yeah, it's like Succession on a ranch.
Yeah, Succession on a ranch with some crime.
Yeah.
And it's very good. I was telling James, they had a bear in one episode.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
They had a bear.
Nathan was telling me, and I'm like, I'm sick of CGI animals. I know it's, more safe and whatever, but they look like crap. And every show and movie, regardless of the budget now, is just CGI animals. And it looks crap. And I love you watching an old classic 80s, 90s Hollywood movie. And, there's a real animal. It's like you appreciate it.
It adds to the... And, like, I don't know... again, I don't know what Taylor Sheridan's got on Paramount.
You know what it is? Do you remember when we watched The Postman? And, like, at the start of the movie, there's just, like, a lion for no reason.
It's Kevin Costner.
Yeah, it's Kevin Costner. He's like, I'm not working on the show unless it's, like, big budget. And
it's like, there's a bear in the script.
fun.
Where's the bear?
Yeah.
Kevin, please. Get
like,
the bear or I walk.
See this green ping pong on a stick? The VFX team, he's like, no, I'm walking. And they're like, please come back. We'll get a real bear.
Yeah, but like,
we'll horribly mistreat this poor animal.
I'm say, not to...
not that I'm condoning that.
Yeah, not to encourage, I guess, the mistreatment of animals.
But there's got to be humane ways to do it.
Oh, of course.
Because
there'd be animal
CGI is awful. The Revenant can suck my...
Yes.
Because that CGI bear sucked.
I say that, but there's never any...
Leo shouldn't have gotten the Oscar for that CGI bear.
There's also a
Should have
difference
got it
between...
for Gilbert Grape.
There's also a difference between wrangling a bear, right? And having a bear in a shot.
Yeah.
And the show does it tastefully where there's never any real risk to the bear. There's never any real risk to... Like, the bear's there,
it's not like it's interacting.
It's not interacting with any of the cast or crew, right? So it's like, you can kind of see, like, well, look, no one's getting endangered here. There's no... I guess, there's no risk of involvement directly with the bear.
Yeah. But even that, like, I appreciate that. Even when you can tell that the bear is, like, in the distance and they're using a lens that just makes him look a bit closer to the person than he is, you appreciate that. That's what filmmaking is all about.
Exactly. I appreciate the filmmaking behind the show.
Finding innovative ways to get the shot.
Exactly. If they just had a CGI bear, you'd be like...
lots of men on horses.
Yeah, always.
I mean, cowboys. It's cool. Cowboys are
Everyone
cool.
wants to be a cowboy.
Everyone wants to be a cowboy.
Yeah.
And like that's like the whole thing is, again, you know what? I don't know how expensive
what was
the show
that
is.
show we watched? Something Range. What was it called? The one with Josh Brolin.
The Outer Range.
Outer Range.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait for season 2.
That I had a bit of problems with, mixed feelings towards, but I'm interested to see what they're going to do with season 2.
I think it's because it's like there's something about the ranch that it's this is going to sound dumb because it's so obvious. It's primal in nature. It's not just the animals. It's man against trying to tame the wilderness.
Oh, you're speaking in general terms.
Yeah, in general terms.
Yeah.
And it's like when you take something like that and you add in weirdness, in the case of the Outer Range, you know, it's like it's got that not Lovecraftian, but it's like that unknown weird factor.
Yeah.
I'm buying what they're selling, but the same with
Yellowstone. I think
Yellowstone. You take that primal ranch kind of man against the wilderness plus the crime, and it does make for a compelling drama.
Well, that's the thing. I guess a lot of the focus on Yellowstone, like Kevin Costner's in it a lot for the first episode, and then he's not really in it as much. He's in every episode, but he's not in it. Like the focus is really on the cowboys and the sort of business side of the ranch.
He's the Logan Roy.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, okay,
But it's like a lot of the show focuses on like
that sounds like
the wilderness and the nature, and like East Calm said, man versus nature. Like the cowboys, they're good at their jobs, but it's still the wilderness.
Yeah.
Like,
which is
still in, like, the ranch is a vast amount of
even though it's modern
acreage.
day,
even though it's modern
still,
age, it's like the largest,
danger,
the largest ranch in, like,
it's like
the country, basically, right? And so even though you've got these cowboys who know the land, it's still thousands of acres. It's still like a monumental amount of land. And so it's like they can be out there in the middle of nowhere without help.
A lot of places to hide, a lot of places to get lost. The
thing about cowboys, it's not about the guns. It's about, like, you think of like cowboy comics or cowboy stories. It's always about the adventure of it because there's so much. The open plains and there's so much. You know, whether it's a murder mystery or it's an action rescue story, something.
Undiscovered country.
Yeah, the undiscovered, the undiscovered country.
The frontier.
Exactly. The frontier nature.
Discovery,
exactly.
Exactly. It's like, oh no, the cows are all a few days ride away on the ranch. It's like, well, they have to go and get the cows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that element to it too, which I appreciate. It adds to the grandeur of the show. Because it's like there's a lot of nature. It feels expensive, even though it might not be that expensive because they're filming on land, right? It's like there's not that many. There's not that many actors. Not that many buildings. Not many.
It's like an open field. You don't need cars.
Yeah.
But it still it feels premium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, they've got like they're on season 6 and there's 3 spin-offs and whatever else.
Prequels and spin-offs. Yeah.
So that's the other thing I've been watching lately.
Yeah.
That, I'm having a good time on.
You got anything else?
No, not really.
Callum, you got anything?
No, my work schedule's been really, really awkward for me
Callum's
lately.
been busy.
And so I haven't been watching as much TV as I would like. I've been playing a few video games here and there, where I get like an hour or so. I started playing an old school Xbox game from the 360 days called Blue Dragon, which is
you were telling me about that. Yeah.
Akira Toriyama, I think his name is, did the Dragon Ball gentleman, did the character design. So it's basically Microsoft's not Dragon Quest game, because it's exactly the same as a Dragon Quest game, except it's for Xbox and it's not titled Dragon Quest. I'm not that far in, but I've got a lot of hours.
Have you played it before?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So it was the first one of the first 3-disc games on Xbox 360.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, but I haven't finished it. I haven't been doing anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've just been some video games. I've been playing The Witcher 3 on my Xbox with the next gen patch.
Yeah, with the new patch. Yeah, looks really
Graphics are
nice.
so nice.
Ray tracing.
Yeah, although don't play with the ray tracing mode.
No,
It's
at all.
terrible.
Yeah, I'll stutter.
Play performance mode for this game is better.
Still
Everyone's
looks
like, the
great.
ray tracing mode looks amazing. Yeah, but it's like 20 frames a second. It hurts.
Yeah.
Like,
you can't
I get
play
a solid.
the game
I
with
take the ray
stuttering,
tracing
yeah.
off and I get a solid 60.
Yeah, and it still looks like a brand
And
new
it still
game.
looks like a brand new game.
When
yeah.
did it come out? 2015 originally?
Something like that. There's work been done. I do appreciate that.
And it's a free patch too.
It's a free patch.
Yeah.
As part of this patch as well, they included community-made high-resolution textures.
Oh wow, nice.
And other community-made patches and mods. And so it's not everything made by CD Projekt. Like a lot of the high-res textures were made by the community and included in the
PC
patch.
modders, yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Which is, again, it's cool. It's like, you know, it makes the game better.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for decades, the fan modding community has
Been the backbone
of
Yeah.
making old games run better.
Yeah,
and
especially with the Bethesda games, it's basically mandatory to download the unofficial patch, which fixes everything.
Which is always
Bethesda
something, you know how we always complain, oh, Disney has all the money in the world, why don't they do this? It's like, video games especially, is just like, if one guy in his basement can fix all of this game's problems, then why are these big budget studios not able to...
It's like the Harmy of video games.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, appreciation to Bethesda for doing that as well. Like when they released the Skyrim re-release,
the special edition,
they included a lot of fan content and fan patches in that as well.
Cheaper than doing it yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But I mean, what's the legality of that? I guess...
No, they got their permission. They do what they want.
Yeah. Basically.
There's probably legalese
I think
in the user agreements and such.
Also, as far as Bethesda go, they ended up giving a lot of the popular modders jobs.
Yeah, that's
so it's like
true.
The legality
that's the
goes
best way to do it,
that,
because it's better than
yeah.
like Nintendo just being like, we're going to sue you, we're going to sue you.
Like the legality goes away when the person who made it originally is now part of the company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
you got to recognize talent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The only other thing I've got going on is The Simpsons, and it's taken a turn now.
Yeah, see,
I'm in the back half of season 22.
Yeah.
And it's starting to slide.
I told you so.
Yeah, but you said was it stop after season 12 or something? You know,
like from 12 to 15, you start to see the downturn, and then after that, it's not worth it.
I'm hitting bottom barrel at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's garbage. Did you watch the movie when it was its time in the timeline?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
The movie I enjoy. It's a good movie. I still enjoy it.
I've already talked about it. I don't think it's that good.
I'm sorry. Can I have a quick change of?
Yeah, what you got?
Yeah.
A while ago on the show now, listeners, I don't know if we mentioned this before or during the show. You said that you had issues with True Romance, but you never elaborated to me.
Okay, yeah. No, yeah, okay. So, I don't know if we ever mentioned the show. I know we talked about it off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I watched True, for listeners, I watched True Romance. I enjoyed it. James was like, I have complicated feelings about that show.
Yeah, I have hipster reasons for...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Quentin Tarantino wrote True Romance,
Yeah.
to get Reservoir Dogs made, which is his first movie, he had to sell the script for True Romance and Natural Born Killers. And Tony Scott ended up directing True Romance, and Oliver Stone ended up directing Natural Born Killers. Then, Reservoir Dogs comes out. Tarantino becomes a big director.
The man,
He makes Pulp Fiction, and basically
he's untouchable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he even said, he's like, if I just waited, I could have ended up making True Romance
himself,
yeah. So in Tarantino's original script, True Romance, it's a more Tarantino-esque structure of like chapters, and they're kind of non-linear, like Pulp Fiction-esque kind of scenes that happen after, like a character dies and then, oh, actually he's alive because it takes place before, and it's got chapter names, and it's got a dark ending.
Yeah.
Now, I saw a fan edit of True Romance, like with all the deleted scenes and stuff, recut to match Tarantino's original script. It was called the Tarantino cut. And this was years ago when it was easy to get fan edits, and it was just, an AVI file that someone, and I thought it was amazing. Like, Tony Scott's direction is incredible. When you've got the original structure and sad ending of Tarantino's original script, amazing movie. When Tony Scott originally released the theatrical version and even his director's cut version, which is I think a little bit longer, it's in linear timeline, standard, editing, and it's got a sappy, happy ending, which I hate.
It was a bit saccharine,
and I think generally most people are like, oh yeah, the movie's fine. But ever since I saw that fan edit, I cannot watch the normal version. It's just the ending rubs me all sorts of the wrong way. My dream is to, I don't know if maybe you've got it, don't you?
On 4K,
Yeah, maybe I'll borrow it off you and I'll see. If the deleted scenes are in HD, and if they have the sad ending in HD, it would be a dream of mine to re-edit that Tarantino cut that I saw years ago with the HD footage and make my own Tarantino cut. I don't have the time or the talent, but that's because that's the only way I can watch the movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just like,
it's not the real ending.
Callum's like, oh, I watch it, and I'm just like, nah, I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, it's just.
No, I get it. Yeah.
And actually, you should check out the sad ending, even if it's only on YouTube. I think it's much better, and it fits the film because the film is gets kind of dark.
One criticism I saw of the film that I thought was a really interesting one, and actually I kind of agreed with, was Christian Slater was too attractive for the role. And I kind of agree with that, because the cast, it's about this loner comic book guy who's obsessed with movies and Elvis.
Yeah, so Tarantino.
Yeah. Well, he does say it's his most autobiographical work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then you get Christian Slater as the role, and it's like this woman, accidentally falls in love with him.
But she's also so beautiful that it's just like.
Yeah, but I read, so originally Weinstein wanted Buscemi to play him.
That would be interesting.
And when I read that, I was like,
I want to see that movie.
That's a completely different film with Buscemi playing the lead.
Yeah, he's more kind of sad and...
Yeah, and think of the energy Buscemi brings, or just in your mind, the tone of the film's different, because it's not necessarily this happy, adventurous film. It's Buscemi against the mafia and what else.
Callum has ruined the movie for me twice.
Yeah, it was funny.
The ruins being movie twice.
So Weinstein goes to the production company. He's like, "We want Buscemi," and they go to him, "You're fired." And then he went into business on his own. That's what the trivia says, at least.
Damn.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that would have been much. Yeah, I would have. It'd be interesting to see what Tarantino would have done if he got to direct it.
Yeah.
But I think Tony Scott's direction and the cast is fantastic. Like Gary Oldman's in it as well.
Yeah.
It's got some great moments, but Christopher Walken.
Dennis Hopper.
But I just, ever since I saw that a fan edit version, I can't go back.
That the one thing I thought was cringe though was that huge long monologue about the racial origins of the Sicilians.
Yeah.
And I looked it up after because I was like, it doesn't sound legit. And there was like some historian did a whole thread on it. And he was like, Quentin Tarantino doesn't understand history.
No, but the character doesn't understand. That's the point.
But I was just like, because when I read the trivia, Tarantino was like, in the trivia, he's like, oh yeah, I had that conversation in real life. And I thought it was so interesting that I had to put it in a movie.
Look, I like Tarantino's movies, but don't take everything he says with a grain of salt.
Don't learn history from Tarantino.
No, that's a great scene though. The eggplant
as a scene,
speech. Yeah.
Actually, one more thing.
Yeah.
I watched. Have you seen the Cursed film series on Shudder?
Sounds familiar.
I watched.
I think I saw the ad for it.
I watched like a mini. I guess one of the episodes, like a mini documentary on like cursed movies or movies with like dramatic events happen behind the scenes. And The Rainbow and the Serpent is one I have to watch by Wes Craven. I have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But I watched a documentary about it. I've never seen it.
I told because I think it was Callum who was like, I like. I can't remember what you said. You said something like, I like. Because I think we were talking about a dark song or something with magic, dark magic. Yeah. And I was like, you have to watch Serpent and Rainbow.
Yeah.
And
that had a crazy backstory.
Yeah, Bill Pullman plays the lead.
Yeah.
Based on an actual real guy, Wade Davis, who actually went to Haiti to investigate.
Should you watch the movie and then should we have this discussion?
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
Yeah, because let me know when you watch it. I'll rewatch it.
We'll rewatch it. And we can do a whole episode on the crazy backstory of this movie too.
It's a good movie.
Multiple people had nervous breakdowns making the film. It got dark.
Well, allegedly there were voodoo curses going around and
real hoodoo.
Hoodoo.
Yeah.
But all right, look, we'll put a pin in that thing and we'll save it because that'll be a spicy meatball.
Yeah, we should have done this during Halloween.
Well, speaking of, I sent you boys a picture of HBO Max with their curated Hellraiser selection.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, where was this when I was watching horror
movies? Was it
movies?
there and you just didn't see
it? I don't know. But I feel ripped off.
Well, I mean, are we done? I reckon that's enough?
No, I've still got heaps of stuff. We're just getting started.
Yeah, well, let's go.
Yeah.
What have we got?
All right, so...
Seems we've got some more time tonight.
I think we mentioned this on a show a few weeks ago. Actually, no, it was a long time ago when one of our Saturday episodes. Justin Roiland, co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Yep.
He has a new video game out called High on Life, which was one of our most anticipated games coming out this year.
Console exclusive to the Xbox.
Yeah, and I had played his previous game. I like Rick and Morty as much as everyone else, but I'm not
as much as Kanye West.
I'm not a massive I'm not a massive intellectual, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, to be fair,
I don't love it that much.
You have to be really smart to understand Rick and
Morty. My IQ is not high enough, but no, I like it as much as anyone else. But I played his previous game, Trover Saves the Universe, which was originally like a VR game, which I don't go in for that. But then they released it on the Nintendo Switch just as a normal game without the VR element. And I played that and it was hilarious. Like, I loved it. It was so funny. And so when I heard about High on Life, I was, really excited for it. It's like a sci-fi game where...
Alan just messaged me saying, don't be talking shit about Rick and Morty.
I wasn't talking shit. I like Rick and Morty.
I know.
But you
saying it's for the intellectuals.
But you know what I mean. Like, I like it, but I'm not one of those.
I know. We obviously have a listener.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but he doesn't count.
But yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So I loved Trover Saves the Universe, and then High on Life. So I was excited for that. It's like a sci-fi game where you play as just like a normal teenager guy who Earth gets invaded by aliens who want to turn humans into drugs. Like, they're this alien cartel who invades the planet.
They
turn the native species into different kinds of drugs.
For more on this, apparently, see our episode from last week.
What's that?
I said, for more on this subject, see our episode from last week.
That we haven't uploaded that yet.
We did it.
No, we haven't talked about it. Yeah, that's from another episode we haven't released yet.
That's in the archive. That's vaulted.
Yeah, that's bonus episode.
I apologize, listeners.
For emergencies. What was I saying? Yeah, and apparently aliens, the high they get off humans is so amazing that, like, they're going to make bank. And you play as this normal guy who picks up an alien gun that's actually an alien that talks to you. And the little gun helps you trying to defeat the alien enemy invaders and save Earth. And yeah, the whole thing is like the guns are aliens that talk to you, and it's like funny, crazy sense of humor.
I enjoy the humor. I enjoy the banter from the guns. I've played a bit of it.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just so annoying." I'm like, if you didn't, that's the point of the game. Also, they released the patch so you can turn off the.
I enjoy all the banter from the guns and stuff. Knifey is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it. It's good. I'm glad I played it through Games Pass and didn't buy it. I find the level design can be a bit.
So I like buying my games outright, but it was $90.
Oof.
And I was like, "Excuse me, what?"
Did you subscribe for?
I subscribed, and because I hadn't subscribed before, because I've been putting it off because I don't have a lot of time.
3 months for like $2
I only had
to.
No, it was like $1 for 1 month.
It's all right.
So I got to play High on Life for $1. So that was good. But yeah, it feels a bit dated. I think level design is a bit rough.
And I get it. This is an indie studio, right? Microsoft obviously had supported them through development.
Yes,
that's the whole thing. Like they're on the Games Pass. We don't know the details of the deal, whatever. But let's just assume that Microsoft funded a large part of this game's development, right? That's the cost of being exclusive.
Yeah.
However, I like the humor, I like the graphics, I like the cartoony style. The only thing that's letting the game down for me so far is just the general level design. I find it a bit, as you said, it's a bit old, a bit dated.
It feels like, because, I mean, we talked about this before, where it's hard to say, like, because it's a AA game. It's maybe not the biggest budget game in the world, but it's not a small indie game. And it's just like, how can you put a monetary value on that? It's like, is it worth? Yes, it's a next gen Xbox Series X game, but
it's a AA game.
Is it worth $90? It's like, well, the people worked really hard on it, and it is fun, and so that's hard. But also, it just the mechanics of it, the shooting, the level design, it feels kind of almost Xbox 360 era-esque.
Exactly.
Like if this game came out back then, 15 years ago, would have been amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think part of the whole thing is, look, let's be a little bit cynical here. It's Xbox trying to push Games Pass.
And it's like the most successful game on Games Pass.
Yeah, let's push it on Games Pass.
It's a good Games Pass game.
It's a good Games Pass game, and that's the point.
Just people can try it without spending $90.
Yeah, it's not a Games Pass exclusive. It's like you can buy it if you want, but it's going to cost you $90.
Yeah,
but
it's to get people's foot in the door of Games Pass.
It's to gently encourage people.
Well, they finally got me.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I'm going to cancel my subscription after a month, because for me, it's a extremely value for your money service. And we've talked about it in the studio before. Great
Subscribe
service,
when there's a game you want to play. Yeah.
That's also, for me, to just be subscribing $16 a month and not being able to play a game. I'll be throwing money in the toilet.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where for people like you who like are very selective with what games you play or you enjoy.
If there's a game I want to play, I'll pay the $16 for the month. Play it and then cancel again.
Exactly. Yeah, it has
better than paying the full
I think
price.
a lot of people probably do that as well.
If I love the game, I'll put it in my wish list, and then when it goes on sale,
exactly.
But yeah, I think for me personally, my favorite episode of Rick and Morty is the
Pickle Rick.
No, that's such a normie. Is the intergalactic cable, where it's just like Justin Roiland like riffing and making silly jokes and really absurdist improvisational humor. And there's moments in it where you can just hear him laughing because what he's saying is so stupid, and they just kept it in the take. And that shit cracks me up. That's the funniest stuff. I like Rick and Morty, all the sci-fi stories and that's fine. But when it's its most absurd, that's the humor I like the most. That's why I like Trover Saves the Universe. And those parts of High on Life, if you like that absurd kind of humor, that's what I like about it. Because there are moments in this game, like there's like intergalactic TV where you can just watch the TV, and it's just like,
well, there are 3 whole movies you can watch.
That's another thing, is there's actually real live action.
Jameception, yeah.
There's actually real live action movies.
Oh, what's the guy in the Fast and Furious?
Guy in the Fast.
The Fast.
Oh, Paul Walker. Yeah.
Paul Walker.
There's Tammy and the T-Rex, Blood Harvest, and Vampire Hookers. actual live action real movies that exist in the real world.
You can stand there and watch.
You can sit and watch them in the game's living room, the house living room television. And if you want, you can just sit there and watch the whole movie. There's also, I don't know if you've seen, you can warp in a movie theater, and it plays Demon Wind, which is another movie. And there's like a riff tracks. There's like 3 aliens who sit at the front and riff tracks it, and it's the guys from Red Letter Media.
Oh, nice.
So, and Mike from Red Letter also voices a couple of other aliens. This game has amazing cast, like JB Smoove, Justin Roiland, Joel Haver, a famous YouTuber, and just all these great, really funny people doing all the voices and doing the, like I was saying, the TV shows you can watch is just really silly, out there humor. And it's just like all these really funny people just kind of riffing and improvising silly scenarios. And then it's like animated on the TV screen. And like I would just sit there and watch for half an hour all these funny little shows. And that shit cracks me up. The game itself is fine. It's a first-person shooter, whatever.
What do you think of the intro? Where it's like the old...
the Quake style,
that was
fun, yeah.
And
funny. He's just yelling at you, just like, you know how to play games. It's just crouch, whatever.
Yeah.
See, that shit cracks me up. There's, I don't know, what's his name? Suto? The little... the when you put on the space suit and you get like in the HUD, and he's like, you know, like the paperclip, the Microsoft paperclip. Yeah. He's like, hey, I'm Pseudo, I'm here to help you. And it's just like, he's just riffing. Like you can tell the guy who, I can't remember the guy who voices his name, but he's just riffing, making stuff up that's not real in the game. Like when you can tell it's not scripted, that shit cracks me up.
Yeah,
that's what I play the game for.
On a similar note, have you ever played Bug Snacks?
No, I never did.
It's a very similar sort of a game with a very similar sort of theme. And it's, people say it's for children, but it's really not. You shouldn't let your children play this game because it will disturb them. But essentially, you have to take photos or like trap snacks, right? It's food, and you have to give these food animals to villagers on this island, and there's like a mystery behind the island. But when a villager eats a snack, part of their body becomes the snack.
Oh, that's weird.
And it's weird in an almost.
This is an old game. Yeah, it came out like 20 years ago.
No, it's newish.
Really?
It's almost in
2-3 years.
The game almost
maybe
has.
I'm thinking of something else.
No, the game almost has like a Cronenberg kind of like vibe to it.
Oh,
sounds funny.
Yeah,
it's on Games Pass.
Oh, okay, cool.
If you've still got your subscription.
Yeah.
Just have a little look at it. It's very weird and creepy. And some of the comments the NPCs make are like disturbing, and there's like a whole sinister kind of thing. It's aimed at kids in air quotes, but it's not. It's like there's like a darkness behind the game.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
And it looks a kind of like
High on Life. Yeah,
it has that kind
colourful
of same
cartoon.
Yeah,
cartoony.
But it's really not for kids at all.
Yeah,
it looks like it's for kids. Like I'm showing James a photo. But it's really not. It's really not for kids at all because it's really deep, dark, and disturbing.
Yeah, I was thinking of a different game.
No, but that's also one while you have your subscription that you might enjoy because it shares the same kinds of, I guess, attitude. It's less overt. There's no guns. There's no characters swearing and saying profane things. To, for comedy and shock value, right?
Yeah.
But it's a deep color. It's a colorful world with a mystery in it.
Yeah, and it's kind of disturbing, like a body horror kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, there's a character who eats sausages, whatever, and his fingers will become giant sausages. And he can't use his hand anymore, and he's, like, screaming. And it's kind of just, like, a little bit dark and weird, and I think you might dig it.
Yeah, sounds interesting. But, High on Life was good. But, yeah, as a game, nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Easter eggs. Like, I missed a whole bunch of stuff that people are talking about
There was a controversial one where you have to murder a child. And then you can only. It's a locked achievement. You can only get 100% if you kill the child.
Yeah.
And I think it's called something like they won't let you get away with this in other games or something like that. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff like that. No, I just walked past him.
I shot him.
Yeah.
I got
he was annoying.
Yeah.
And then the mother's crying. Like, oh my god.
There's a bit later in the game where it's like a cute little cutie town or something, and it's just like a little miniature town with little people in it. No, that's a different thing. But yeah, there's like a little miniature town with little alien people in it, and you if you walk into it, you accidentally step on the buildings and kill everyone, and there's just people screaming, and it's just like there's so much chaos in the, and that's when the game shines, when it's just being silly and they're having fun with the ideas, and the voice actors are just riffing and yelling and swearing.
It's success.
At that point is really good. But I think I would like to see a sequel, because there are elements of it that I think you could definitely improve upon.
Yeah. Well, if it's left open to a sequel, I think there's a good chance we'll see one, because the game has been successful. It's been an enormous success on PC and Xbox.
It's like the #1 Games Pass game of all time.
I think also with this kind of game, like, I think the only reason it is successful is because it says from the creator of Rick and Morty kind of thing. Like, people will subscribe to Game Pass just out of curiosity.
Yeah, and they'll see it.
And so in that case,
and I think Microsoft has sort of already shown that the people you're more likely to buy a game that you play on Games Pass if you really enjoy it, right? So exposure.
Well, like I said, I like to buy my games. So if High on Life goes on sale, I will probably buy it just because. Yeah. And even though I don't have time to replay it,
it'll be part of your collection. Yeah. But it's that exposure as well, right? So,
although I don't like digital only games.
I try not to.
But most of the games I play now are just indie games that are digital only, so I'm kind of forced to buy these games.
That's what makes limited run games so cool, because sometimes I'll take those and they'll take an indie game that never had a physical release.
Well, that's why when you guys told me about that, I was just like, oh my god, I'll have to keep an eye out. So when they release something that I like, I'll buy it so that I have it.
Yeah. But I think Games Pass is a good way to, I guess, be exposed to different games. And then you play these games. If you like them, you can buy them.
Yeah.
And apparently that's been very successful for Microsoft, because that happens quite a lot.
And also, I think if you're subscribed to Game Pass and you do buy them, you get a little discount as well.
It's like at least 10%.
It's like a member's discount. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
All right, one more thing and then I'll shut up. I'll just, considering it's the last show of the year, get this all out of the way. That's it. Listeners will remember... during Spoketober, I watched all the Chucky movies, and then I watched the first season of the Chucky TV show, and second season came out, and I watched that as well. Amazing. I think it might even be better than the first season. Really funny. The puppeteering and animatronics seem to be getting better and better. And I appreciate that they're still doing that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really, really funny and really meta, and they're really deep diving into the lore and the characters and the backstories. And like I said in previous episodes, the creator, Don Mancini, I think he's just loving to keep diving into this world and keep fleshing out Chucky and adding more ridiculous things and making meta comments on horror and the franchise as a whole. And I think what's interesting is that, if he couldn't use an idea in one of the older movies, for the next movie he might try to work that in. And so now it's gotten to the point where it's like probably all the unused ideas that he couldn't use for the movies over the years,
we're seeing in the show.
He's now able to use them in the show, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward. I don't know what they're going to do next season, because this season they...
Has Chucky gone to space yet?
Not yet, but they might get there eventually. It's maybe not that crazy, but yeah, they do a lot of crazy stuff.
That's awesome.
And so I'll be interested to see what they do. Hopefully they have another season at least.
Excellent.
But I'll shut up now.
I think we've got through everything we want to talk about.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was talking to the boys off air, and it's like, because occasionally we have a hiatus and we don't do a show, and so the things we want to talk about stack up.
Yeah.
And then when we start the show, it's like, well, there's too much to talk about, and we don't have a lot of time. Tonight we had some extra time, which is good. But yeah, that's why I want the listeners, the cousins out there, to message us or email us, and let us know. It's like, do you just like us doing what we're doing for the last few weeks, or if there is a new Netflix movie. Like I watched The Wonder on Netflix. You know that movie you were talking about, Callum?
No.
Maybe.
The one that's like the 1800s and the girl that doesn't eat.
Yeah, was that
yeah.
good?
Yeah. And I really liked it, but I'm like, I don't have time to talk about
I
it.
forgot about that. Oh my god.
And it's just like, do listeners really want to hear about that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I watched 1899 on Netflix. Do
gotta
a
watch
really,
that.
the guys haven't watched it yet. Do you really want to?
There's so much I got to catch up.
There's too much stuff.
We'll put some polls out.
Yeah. So let us know. Do you want us to keep up with some of the new stuff? Do you like when we talk about the classics? How weird do you want us to get? Like, I can go deep dive into some weird shit.
Do you want us to create an OnlyFans?
What will we do on it?
Watch movies on request, I guess. Pay us $5 and we'll watch a movie.
Yeah.
You can watch us.
Can we do it on Twitch?
live reactions to film.
But yeah, let us know at Tuesday Review AU on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Let us know if Twitter is your main source of Tuesday Review info, because we're gonna sort of see about
Who knows if Twitter will be a thing.
winding that down. Yeah. And also you can email us at thetuesdayreview@outlook.com.
Go old school.
Yeah, and any suggestions or comments or whatever, we want to hear from you. Even though we're not, like I always say, we're not super active on social media and stuff. We do appreciate when people comment and like and share and stuff. And yeah, we want to know what your
Should
favorite
we be
parts.
on YouTube?
Well, yes, we should, but we don't have time to.
Yeah.
See, that's a big problem. Is like, yes, we should be engaging more and doing more stuff, and but we don't have time for that, and that's why what we do have time for is to say, hey, let us know what you want us to focus on these episodes that we are doing. You know.
Yeah.
Because we're still going to be like watching whatever we want and talking about it, but how much, like, where do you want the focus to go as a listener?
Yeah.
Do you care if we don't talk about the new stuff? Do you care if we get into the weeds about the weird, B movie that no one's ever heard of, or the weird artsy European movies? Do you let us know if there's a sort of direction we should be thinking of heading or something. Give us some direction.
Because until you tell us, we'll just scattergun.
Yeah, because at the moment we're just doing whatever, and like I said, like I'm missing out on I watch a lot of stuff. Like I can, the boys have seen my list. It's endless, and I don't get to talk about a fraction of it on the show because we don't have time. So if you give us some direction and indication of what's your favorite thing, maybe we can sort of focus on that or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Twitter, eh?
Yeah, what a mess.
I don't know.
We live in a meme. The world is
A simulation.
awful.
I mean, it's not getting any better.
No.
I guess this is the end.
Yes, the end of 2022. When we come back, it'll be 2023.
New Year, same old show.
Well, we hope not to be the same old show. We hope to be a better show, but that never
That's right.
ends up happening.
If we win the lotto, all right, we can upgrade the equipment.
Yeah. And we can, we'll just podcast all the time if we're rich enough.
That's it.
But yeah, so everyone out there, have a safe New Year and Happy New Year. And
don't drink drive.
Yeah, definitely. Be careful out there.
Yeah.
And
get drunk before you drive.
Oh,
then at least you're not drinking while you're driving.
What? No.
That's not what that means.
It was a joke.
I know it was a joke,
Be
but
safe.
No.
Yeah, be safe out there. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next year. Adios, cousins.